Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 18th. It is 6:17 right now. We got market opening up in about 13 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. Good. I get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Like we are good to go. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. Going down to the 4 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Going down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15. Down to the 10 minute. And back down to 1 minute here. Looks good. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 18th. It is 6:20 right now. We got market opening up in about 10 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is at, let's see, 44.7, or sorry, 44.688. Then the closest level below is at 44.623. We got a bunch of different levels of liquidity above over here. There. And then right there. Other than that, looks like we're good to go. So let's see what's here so far. Morning, Christian. Morning, Maria. Morning, Jonathan. Morning, everybody. We got market opening up in about 9 minutes. We got some time here. I've marked the liquidity, so we're pretty much good to go with that. Let's take a look at the market structure bias from. There's not really going to be much market structure bias from yesterday because we had a half day, but I guess I could still mark it up here just because. Yeah, it's not going to be very useful because obviously we didn't have a full day yesterday. So I'll just mark it up from here. This is the close. Actually a pretty good bias. Look through it from here. So it looks like we might be looking for sells today. I'm not sure exactly if that's going to be the case, but it looks like we might be looking for some sells today. Looking over here at the breakout, we'll know the direction of the breakout later. It's still a little too early right now, 6:22, but it's looking like a possible sell right now as well. So looking at the market direction currently, I mean, obviously you guys can see here, it looks like the sellers are in control. They've been in control for a while, but that they've been in control from here. We get an engulfing candle, price push down, another engulfing. We get a sell signal right here. This is an MPSV2 right there. So the A++ setup happened within this area. Pre-market, there goes the A++ setup pre-market. It already hit full TP. Another engulfing right there, another engulfing right there, and price is climbing down lower. So the sellers are obviously in control here at the moment. We'll keep watching and see where price goes from here, but at this very moment, we'll see the sellers are in control. If price does push up, we'll put the buyers back in control, but at the moment right now, sellers are obviously in control at this very moment. Looking over here at our clean chart, let's see. I'm not going to mark any levels up yet because it's still kind of early. I'll mark them up when the market actually opens. Then over here at our SR chart, let me see if there's any zones here that we could possibly look out for. One right there. One right there. Got one right there. On the higher time frames, 1 hour, see if there's any lower structures here to look out for. Price is actually at the support right now, so. All right, so there goes the SR chart, guys. I've marked at the support resistance here. This is the 1 hour support down below. So price might be bouncing off the support level. I guess we'll kind of see what happens here as price continues to, obviously move along here. I believe we had news today too. We had news at 5:30. We have more news at 7 o'clock. We have the Fed speaking at 7:20. So we had news over here at 5:30. Pre-market. The news was positive, but price came down super heavy. We had more news at 7 o'clock and then at 7:20. Good. So I guess we'll see what happens here shortly. All right, guys, sellers have been in control since this area up here, and we'll see what happens in the next few moments. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 18th. It is 6:26 right now. Hopefully, everyone had a great long weekend. I'm ready to get back into these charts. Whenever we have a long weekend like this, I'm always itching to get back into the market. So, market's going to open up in about 4 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is at 44,688. Closest level below is at 44,623. We had another level of liquidity here that got knocked out. This one obviously right here just got knocked out here pre-market. As you can see, I marked up here that the sellers have been in control since about 5:24. We had news over here, which was positive, but price still pushed down. And it's been dropping since. So I think what we're going to look for here is possible sells for the day. On open, there may be some sort of retracement to the upside, and then possibly continuation back down. But we'll have to see what happens here when the market actually opens to confirm that that's actually going to happen. Hey Sam, morning. Broxy, good morning, Sean. Good day, K2 team. Let's see what was looking for buys myself. I'll be careful now that I noted your analysis is for sells. I mean, the analysis for sells is just right now, Brock. The thing is, price is currently at the 1 hour support. So, this might bounce off this point here, but it doesn't necessarily have to bounce off the 1 hour support level. So it's just something to keep in mind, because a lot can happen here on open. Obviously, when we're coming back from a holiday weekend like this is also a V1 variation pattern, looks like down here. So you got a V1 and engulfing happening right here on this green candle. So this might be the shift back to the upside, but we don't know yet until, we have some actual confirmation. So wouldn't necessarily count on it just yet. But yeah, I mean, the buys do make sense because obviously we're at a support level, but at this very moment, I mean, it looks like price is coming down and knock out all this liquidity. There's more liquidity right here. And then another one down here. These are the higher level liquidities. So liquidity right here just got knocked out again, guys. So pre-market, about 4 levels here have gone knocked out. We had a level of liquidity right here, right here, right here, and then we have another one down here. So we'll kind of see what happens here shortly, guys. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to keep dropping, but as of now, the sellers are still in control. So we'll kind of see what happens here when the market opens up in the next minute or so. So if you guys are looking to take a breakout for today is going to be a sell. I wouldn't necessarily take it. I might just wait and hold off on the breakout if you guys are looking to take it. Reason for that is because price has been dropping for a while now, right? Price has been dropping for about almost an hour now. It's dropped about 138 points. I think at this point, price is a little bit overextended. It could probably push a little more, maybe to 150. So I think this would be like the pushing point for it to be overextended. But as of now, whenever price goes over 100, 130 points, I already look at that as overextended. So we'll see what happens here when market opens up shortly. But we'll kind of play it by ear. Price is also at the 1 hour support. So another thing to look out for there as well if you're looking to catch that possible bounce. However, the bias right now is currently a sell. So we got market opening up in about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is now open. So with market open right there, we'll kind of see where this goes. So that bounce right there that I was telling you guys about is probably going to happen right there. As you can see, price is pushing up very sharply. Like I said, price was overextended, so I'd probably hold off for any entries here right now, specifically. But if you are looking to take a sell, you are looking to take a sell here. Might be able to find something for the breakout. So breakout over here is sell, obviously. I'm not taking the breakout, but I'll follow up for you guys. So we'll see if it continues down to the downside. I mean, the bias here is still for a sell. We want price to stay below this market structure from yesterday at least. And we'll kind of see what happens here. There's no confirmation on sells yet, though. So what I would like to see here is like some sort of retracement and then continuation back down. Or if, price just starts dumping from here and the breakout starts to follow like it's doing right now. That might be the case as well. So I'll mark up the 50 here. Mark up the 50 right there. So 50 points just got hit for the breakout right there. If you guys did take the breakout, 50 points is done with. Looking over here at the overall trend. So 4 hours bearish, 1 hour is bearish, 30 minutes bearish, 10 minutes bearish, 5 minutes bearish, 1 minute bearish. Everything's bearish across the board. So that's that. We're getting a huge wick right here on this candle. So price came down, hit the 50 points. We'll see if it continues to drop. There's still no confirmation here that price is flipping, other than we have support right here that got broke. So this is the 1 hour support level. It's gotten broke. So see any lower levels below that. Next level is going to be down here. All right, we have 1 hour support right there. We have another 1 hour support right here. So we don't have any buyers in control yet, or at least no retracement. We just gotta give it some time here as price continues to, obviously move along. See what happens here shortly. All right, not much going on here. The buyers might be pushing price back up. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna mark up green bar right there. All right, we got an engulfing candle here that's starting to close. We got about 12 seconds left on this candle. All right, so it looks like the buyers might be back in control here with that retracement. Looks like price is back to open. Let me mark the opening price. Or not there yet, almost. Or actually, yeah, it's back to open right here. So we got price back to open at this point. Not much else here to work with. Looks like price might be consolidating around this area. So I'll kind of see what happens here as price kind of pushes up. If anything, we might have some consolidation starting around this point. Or if it doesn't consolidate, then I'll probably retrace back up. I mean, either way, we'll kind of see what happens here as price, moves along. Looks like the consolidation they're starting to play through. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. All right, so it's kind of back to what we saw a lot of last week. A lot of consolidation, right? Price makes that big spike on open and then it just consolidates for a while. And that's pretty much what's happening right here. So we'll follow it and we'll see what happens here. Obviously, we'll look for price to break out of this consolidation zone. You can see prices having trouble getting past the opening price right here, this blue line. Price came up, swung back down. And then we'll kind of see here if the sellers, obviously get back in control. If the sellers are back in control, then I'll put a red line right here. Because we just had a short retracement. And what I'd be looking for here is if price swings back down further, obviously I'd have the sellers back in control at that point, right? So we'll see what happens here. We have a level of liquidity down here below. Not too much going on. So price is trying to break above it. Let's see if it actually closes. If it closes, that's perfectly fine. It's just a small consolidation right there. All right, price did swing up. So we have a possible MPS V2 setting up here. One thing I would be looking for is if the MPS V2 has some sort of confluence on it, right? And like either an engulfing or V1 on entry. If that's the case, then we may have possible opportunity here for reversal to the upside. So kind of see what happens over here. Good morning. Glenn's asking, is the opening price a red flag for MPS V2? Yes, it is. Anything that goes left to right is a red flag. So opening price, sessions, news price, anything that's like horizontal left to right, that's dotted. The liquidity targets are fine, but opening price is considered a red flag for anything really, not just MPS, but for anything. So Siobhan, you missed one thing, which was the breakout. Breakout came down and hit 50 points over here, which is like the 1-to-1. That's like the only thing you missed. It had a big spike to the downside on open, but other than that, nothing else. So should be good. We're looking for an MPS V2 right here. The only problem is that if we do get an MPS somewhere around here, we may be too close to the red flag area up here. So we gotta wait and see. For the MPS, I'm looking for engulfing or a V1, something like that. Yeah, Brock said MPS V2 loading though before 6:45 a.m. Yeah, it's before your threshold. Ideally, I want to see some sort of A+ setup as well. So there's no A+ setup right here, of course. We're also pulling back to the opening price, which is going to be a red flag, like Glenn mentioned. So it's a little tricky right here. The range might be from up here actually. So looking at this now, the range might be from up here. This might be a big range. I mean, obviously there's no entry right now. We are in this big range. Looks like we might have a shift to the downside. So sellers might be back in control from right here. If this closes with a green candle, I mean, there can be a sell signal there, but if it closes with a green candle and it's above this MPS or this momentum right here, this could still be a possible MPS V2. I mean, ideally, I wouldn't necessarily look for it to take, but we'll just follow it right here. It's looking like this candle is going to close red, so it's probably not going to be an MPS V2. And it looks like it might be a shift back to the downside. But I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens here in the next few moments. Again, don't force any entries here, guys. We're coming back from a long weekend. Typically, trading days right after a long weekend are usually kind of tricky because you have a lot of volatility from both ends. You have people that are re-entering the market from the weekend. You have people that are kind of confused about what's going to happen for this week. There's a lot of stuff that happens when you come back from a holiday week. Usually the first day, the Tuesday, is going to be kind of tricky. So, all right, the sellers may be back in control right here. There's no MPS V2 that came up at this point, which is fine because we weren't really looking for the entry anyways. It's a little too early for the entry. So we'll see what happens here. I do have the sellers back in control from this candle right here. So we had, we had the sellers in control over here from 523 up until 6:30, so about an hour of sellers in control. Then we have price kind of push up here for small retracement, and then we have price pushing back down right here from 6:37. So about 5 minutes, price has been pushing down, and you can see the sellers are back in control. However, we're still stuck in this range right here. So ideally, you'd like to see maybe a break and retest of this area below, and then continue drop from there. The breakout is still running, guys. So if anybody's holding it for 100 points, I mean, the 50-point mark already got hit, but the 100 points still have not gotten hit yet. So I mean, there's still opportunity there if anybody is holding on to it. So we have the sellers in control right here. Price is pushing down a little bit. Obviously, I'm going to keep following it. I'll go over here to the clean chart now, mark up some zones. Now that we have some stability in the market. So looks like price is pretty much ranging between the 600 mark over here, 44,600 and 44,500. This is the big range. And the midpoint is the 44,550 right down the middle. So we'll see what happens here. Here's the SR chart. Again, this is the 1 hour support. There's another 1 hour support below here. So if price does drop any lower, it does have a target to reach, which is down here. Otherwise, price might stay down the middle for a bit. All right, so looking at the current range right now, we have a fake out right here. Fake out and pull back into the range. We'll see if it can stay below. Yeah, Brock said, I feel like the sells will be traps, just a feeling. Yeah, possibly. Or, you know, what I can see here is price might drop down and grab liquidity below and then come up. So it might come down, hit the whole 100 right here, and then come back up. Because we do have liquidity sitting right here. So price may come down, grab liquidity, come back up, come back down, grab liquidity, and then reverse. Right, like a W, fake out, and then W back up. Or it grabs liquidity in 2 areas right there. Gotcha. Yeah. So Brock did identify this as an NPSV2. So there's an NPSV2 that's currently running right now, guys. The entry was from this candle right here. I'm not in the position because obviously I'm looking for those A++ setups, but it did fake out just like Brock said. Another reason why I would be careful about this is because I already called out the fake out right here, right? So I think like, you know, what Brock said earlier, he said that he feels like the sells will be traps, and I agree with him because that's kind of what's happening here. The same pattern's been playing out for the past couple of weeks, right? I've been drawing pretty much ranges for you guys to follow. And then between that area, we have a lot of fake outs where price just kind of goes back and forth, right? We'll have the range here, price will fake out below, then it'll fake out above, and it kind of just stays within the range. That's another reason why I'm looking for these A+ setups. I'm not necessarily looking at entries standalone. I'm looking for the A+ setups because I'd rather be more cautious about my entries here than to take any, like pretty much every single entry that comes up. So yeah, Brock said you avoided it. Yeah, smart move right there, Brock, on avoiding it. You know, sometimes you have to go with your intuition. Like for example, here, since I called out this fake out and you thought that the sells would be fake outs as well, you know, that was a good decision for you to skip that entry. Either way, I would have skipped it regardless. Like there wouldn't be, I didn't even think to even look for it there. We may have the buyers back in control here. So as you guys can see, there's not very much direction, right? The control here doesn't really last for very long. The buyers only had control for about like a few minutes, sellers for a few minutes. And then again, right here, price does push back up, possibly again for another few minutes. There's no confluences. So you can see there was no V1s, there was no engulfings, there's nothing like that. So there's nothing really to confirm that price was actually pushing and holding in that direction, but I am chopping up the direction right here so that you guys can kind of see who's in control at what time. so that you can look for specific entries in that direction when price does push that way. So what you want to look out for here is a possible push up, maybe another fake out, and pull back into the range, right? Just some things to look out for, because obviously, this is not the type of market you want to get stuck in. Like the last thing you want to do is get stuck in a position and it goes sideways, like we had on Friday, right? We got into that MPSV2 A plus setup, and that thing went back and forth for a good, 10-15 minutes. Eventually it did hit, but you just want to be smart about your entries here, especially on a day like this, because we're coming back from a long weekend. All right, so we got the range here. I mean, price is respecting the range pretty nicely, aside from the fake outs. Looking over here at the overall trend. So again, just looking back to see where everything's sitting right now. The 4 hours still sort of bearish. 1 hour is sort of bearish as well. 30 minutes bearish, 10 minutes bearish, 5 minutes bearish, 1 minute is still bearish. So all the time frames over here, looking at the overall trend, is still bearish. We'll see if it holds or if it swings to the upside. I mean, that's perfectly fine too, right? We don't necessarily have to stay in one direction. However, we do have the buyers still in control right here as price pushed up. So from this candle right here, this big red candle, this is the low, and price has been climbing up ever since. So what you want to look out for here again is the fake out from the upside, right? Price might push up, you might get a V1 variation, swing back down. Just be patient, guys. There's no need to force any entries here. I mean, there's nothing going on. I mean, once price starts to move to the upside, then okay, look for some buys. If price moves to the downside, then okay, look for some sells. But right now, you don't really want to trade within this middle area right here, unless you're catching the bounces off, the support resistance or the upper range, lower range, and kind of catching those back in the other direction. So like, for example, here, if I was to see a V1 variation or engulfing from this point, then okay, maybe take that sell right there for a little bit, write it down, at least to the midpoint. There's an engulfing right here that's currently pending. You can possibly ride this for 30 or 20 points or so. But again, that's a risk, right? If you're willing to take that risk, you can. Your stop loss would be above the range. TP would be down the middle. There's a red flag down the middle right here. It's opening price. So that's what makes it risky. When you have red flags down the middle right here, then that's where it becomes risky, because you can easily have a fake out right here, right? Price can come up, come down, fake out, come right back up. And that's just me being cautious, especially coming back from a long weekend. There's no other news events for today. We have news at 7 o'clock. So in about 10 minutes, we have NAHB Housing Market Index. It's medium impact, forecasted to be neutral. We've got Fed Daily speaking at 7:20. That's about it. Looking at this week, we have housing starts, building permits, FOMC minutes come out on Wednesday. So this is Fed week for the most part. Initial jobless claims, 4-week average, continuing jobless claims, and then S&P PMI. So PMI over here, we have inflation news, existing home sales, and then we have the Fed speaking. So pretty much every day this week, we have a Fed member speaking. It's considered Fed week because Wednesday, the Fed minutes come out. So we'll see what happens. Again, right here, you can see prices having trouble getting past that opening price. That's why we consider these red flags. And that's the whole reason why I have them on the chart, because you can see here how price gets manipulated around these horizontal lines. Any of these dotted lines, you'll see price tend to get manipulated around those areas. It'll either bounce off it or it'll break through it. You can use these dotted lines as catalysts for your entry, whether you're looking for the bounces or whether you're looking for the break and close. But I don't necessarily like to trade around those areas because it kind of becomes a coin toss, right? It becomes a coin toss because you don't know where it's going to go. Price can bounce, price can break. Doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other, but one or the other is typically going to happen. I got a bunch of sell orders coming in right here on the time and sales. Huge force of sell orders right here at 652. About like 20 orders. Nothing like huge. So not a big, like a big fat order. It's more so like a bunch of smaller orders that are coming in to try to push price down. And then now we have a bunch of buy orders coming in to push price the opposite way. So I'm looking at that there. And they're not really one-sided though. I mean, there's orders coming in, but they're not really one-sided. You can see the delta here. It's like 44. So it's trying to push up and it's trying to push further, but I don't think it's enough to really have that much of a push. All right, so the range is still continuing, guys. I don't have sellers in control here. I still have the buyers in control. You know, if this here starts to push down, then okay, great. I know we do have some engulfing right here, but I don't have any actual push. We have two engulfing that are pending right here. We have an engulfing candle right here, engulfing candle right here. If it pushes down further, however, we don't have a push to the downside. You know, until we have a push to the downside, I'm not really going to put a red bar here, at least not yet. But this is where the sellers would be in control. So if I see this candle or any of these candles breaking close below the open right here, then I'll put the red bar right there. We can put the sellers in control. But at this very moment, I don't consider the sellers in control yet. VTR is pretty decent right now, 21, 22. So it's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. It's, you know, the market's moving. It's moving back and forth, not really directional, but it is moving nonetheless. All right, so it looks like this candle here might be pushing below. I'll put a red bar right here. So at this point, I do see the sellers starting to be in control at this point. Not very strong, but, you know, obviously they're in control to some extent. Buyers were in control right here. Sellers were in control right here. Buyers back in control. Sellers back in control right here. And it's just, you know, it's just a ping pong move. It's a zigzag ping pong move. See, Brock's it's starting for a bullish momentum. Yeah, I know. Ideally, that's kind of what we're looking for. Christian said double rejection hit, but it was on a red flag. Yeah, I know the opening price is in the way for a lot of the analysis here. There was a triple top up here actually, so bounce right there, triple top right here with the engulfing. So if you guys remember earlier, I kind of hinted this to you guys. I said there was an engulfing candle here. If you want to trade within the range, you can. You know, if you find these engulfing candles, you can just take the trades and then trade within the range. However, the problem is there's a red flag right here. It's the opening price. I think this right here actually would have been a really good entry to take. So there's a triple top right here, basically bounce, 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 engulfing candle, indicating the reversal, and the price would have came down pretty nicely. But it's okay. You know, if you didn't take it, obviously I don't think majority of people would have taken that trade. It's in a tricky area. So let's see if the buyers are back in control here. We have a V1 variation, possible V1 plus engulfing. This again too would be another triple bottom, sort of. Not a clean triple bottom, but three bounces off the support or the lower range right here. Bounce, bounce, bounce. If this is V1 plus engulfing, it's going to be like this pattern right here. And then it'll probably push right back up into the middle of the range. For me, though, I don't like taking gambles like that. So, I mean, I personally wouldn't have. I would have taken the sell here would have been more ideal because, you know, obviously the trend's bearish. You look on all the time frames here, everything's bearish. So, taking a sell here would be a lot safer than taking a buy. But I mean, everyone has a different analysis, right? So, kind of just depends on what you're looking for. Let's see. Sam said 44,623 watching a break and retest. 44,623. Yeah. So this, yeah, it's a good area right there to look for. Sam, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking for too, right? It lines up with my upper range. The only problem is once you get up here, Sam, you're gonna have all of these red flags. A little tricky. I mean, if anything, I'd probably look for the break and retest below here. The only thing that you want to be careful for is the possible fake out area again. All right, so buyers are not in control. Looks like a lot of the fake outs kind of happen from this lower level down here. Just like what happened over here. It might even come down, grab liquidity, and come right back up. See what happens. Price actually never came down and touched the support yet. So, I mean, you guys can see over here too. I drew this. So this is a clean chart. I drew this range over here. I said price is probably going to range between the 44,600 and the 44,500. That's kind of where price is trying to reach, but it doesn't actually get that low. That's kind of where liquidity is sitting too. We have liquidity sitting right next to it right here at 44,515. So on its way down, price might come down, grab liquidity at the 15 right here. Might even come lower and then bounce up from there, right? Kind of see the range from here. Similar to the range that we have on the main chart, but again, the next target will be down there. I try to have different types of analysis marked up for you guys. Looks like liquidity did get grabbed right there below. Yeah, so price came down, grabbed liquidity. There's another level of liquidity right below it. There was another engulfing right here actually too. There's no NPS obviously, but there's another engulfing that happened right here. I mean, it's just tricky. This whole area is I wouldn't even have taken this engulfing because I would have been like worried about the fake out right here. Right? Because the fake out happened right there, I'd been like, okay, the fake out might happen again, or price might be coming down and grab liquidity. So price is down here, just grab liquidity from here. Another level of liquidity right below it hasn't gotten touched yet. We have news right here on this candle, so let me mark up news. All right, we got news right there marked up. So it was NAHB Housing Market Index. This is going to be the first news event for this week. It was negative. It was actually a lot. It was a lot worse than expected. So negative right there, news at 7 o'clock. The housing starts and building permits, these news for tomorrow is probably gonna be negative too. So that's just something to look out for, guys. If the market index is negative, these are probably gonna be negative too. With the rest of the housing news. All right, so price came down, grab liquidity below, grab this liquidity, also grab this liquidity right here. I'll leave this up for right now until price kind of breaks below further. But looks like we might be looking for some sells again. If you guys remember from this morning, I said our bias for today is going to be sells, right? I kind of gave you guys a heads up. So the sells are playing through right now. We talked about this earlier. Price might be pushing down to this lower level, and it's currently there right now. So we're currently at the 1 hour support level below. Price is actually bouncing off it as we speak. So I mean, I'm glad the analysis is at least playing out. So we did look for sell. We were anticipating sells for today, and the sells are playing through. So the analysis was fine. It's just I haven't had any entries here that I actually want to take. So what I would be looking for here is I would be looking for possible retracement momentum and then continuation back down. Basically like a head and shoulders, right? See how the head and shoulders kind of play through right here? Something like that. I mean, ideally, best case scenario, that's kind of what I'd be looking for. But if it doesn't happen like that, I mean, it's perfectly fine. The market open hasn't been super great. I mean, It's been super choppy, actually. Um, I think what I'm gonna do is I might actually start to I'm gonna test the market. I'm gonna go back and back test basically how the market's been moving this whole year. I'm gonna go back and back test from January 1st up until today, maybe later today or later this week. If the market is continuing to be like this, then I might just change my trading hours. So instead of trading market open, I might just not even trade market open and then come back after 9 o'clock, trade the market close or like halfway later in the market. Because what's starting to be the case here, and I've started to notice this because I do back test sometimes. If you guys have tried out the A plus setups and MPS V2s, I do see a lot more entries happen later in the day. So I mean, if that's the case, then that might be something that I might have to shift to. Instead of trading between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, I might trade from like 9 until 11 or 9 until 12, something like that. Um, I mean, we'll see. I don't want to make any drastic changes yet. So it's not going to be the case yet, guys. But I'll go back and retest the market for this year, and I'll see if that's the case. And if that's the case, and that's where the volatility is at and the consistency, then I might have to switch to that type of or that time of trading. Because you guys can see here, like this market, it's not very efficient. Like you'll see price kind of come down for a little bit and then it'll come right back up and it'll stay within this area. But if you trade later at like 9 o'clock, price will be like ranging. I'm not ranging, it'll start to move directional. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you guys want to go back and back test that as well, I mean, feel free to back test, go and try any strategies that we applied in the past. But there's nothing happening here right now. Right. And I'll show you real quick. Let's just go really quick. I'm just gonna go to like a random day. Like not Friday, maybe like a Thursday or something. Okay, let's just go real quick and I'll show you. Okay, so this is Thursday right here, right? See how like the market just goes sideways right here between like 6:30 up until like 10. And then look where price starts to actually move. Like between 10 and 12. So that's just something I've been noticing. I started noticing it a lot last year and it started carried on to this year. So it seems like the market kind of went inverted. Before, the market would be super volatile, like between 6:30 and 8. And then, I mean, it still moves, but it's not as big as like the moves that happen here between like 9 and 11. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you guys want to go back and test that stuff, I mean, feel free. For me personally, I like trading in the morning because I like to get my trading done and then just get on with my day. But if this is a case where I have to kind of change my hours a little bit, the thing is I won't trade the entire session. I think that's going to be detrimental to your account. And I know that because I've traded all day before in the past, and you just end up losing more trades than you win, or you just lose a lot of bad trades, and then you just end up with a lower P&L than if you just traded for a shorter period. That's why for me, my edge was between 6:30 and 8. The only problem is that the edge isn't really there anymore between 6:30 and 8. The markets have kind of changed. They started changing last year. A lot of people have been talking about this. You probably have seen other people mention this before. The market conditions have changed over the year. And you can see it kind of reflects with my profits too. Like last year, I think I locked in pretty good profit, but I didn't lock in as much as I normally do. I think overall my profits across all my accounts, I probably locked in like 250 to maybe 300. It wasn't like around the 500 range. The year before that was like closer to 500. Year before that was even more. It's like closer to 700, 750. And it just kind of slowed down a little bit because I didn't have as many entry points. If you guys have been trading with me over the years, like before we would take like maybe 3 or 4 trades a day. And then it kind of went a little slower in the market, and I started taking like 1 or 2 trades a day. And then now there's some days where I don't take any trades. If you guys look at my stats, like my stats over here, like I haven't traded a Monday in a long time, right? February 3rd, February 10th, I haven't taken any trades here. I mean, my profits are still good, but it's not what I'm like typically used to. Like in January, we didn't even trade for like 1 week. like a whole week, there's no trades because the market just wasn't giving us anything. See, I have a lot of blank days here because I just don't really have that many opportunities in the market. So, I mean, we'll see. I'll play by ear, but I'm not necessarily going to make any drastic changes just yet. I'm gonna actually go and test this stuff, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a big spreadsheet. I'm going to mark up all the entries, and I'm going to see where my sweet spot is with regard to my edge. So wherever more entries come up, where most of my wins happen, stuff like that. And then from there, I mean, obviously we'll kind of see what goes. Let's see. Yeah, proxy. Let's see if the news helps us break that high. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on here. Price again is just consolidating around this lower point. This is another area of consolidation. And this has kind of been the recurring theme. If you guys have been trading with us in the morning for a while, this is how the market's been for a while. You get some consolidation, it breaks out a little bit, and then it just goes back into consolidation again right there. And then the ATR here is starting to get low again. It's back at 20. Let's see, Christian said I'm gonna wait for a reset with a buy signal and see what happens. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for too, Christian. Just looking for that there now. Yeah, Brock said, man, oh man, let that B2 play out far from the red flags. I'm thinking the same thing, Brock. So the buyers are still not in control here, so we're not looking for buys at all. We're still looking for sells. Price has come down right here since 648. We haven't had any push to the upside yet. If we get a push to the upside, I'll put a green bar right here. And this will indicate that the buyers are in control, but as of now, I don't really see buyers being in control yet. It's just sellers in control, consolidation, and continuation right here. That liquidity got knocked out. We got some liquidity right here on the top end too. This liquidity is probably going to get hit right now. Yep. So that liquidity got taken out right there. There's an engulfing candle right here indicating the continuation to the downside. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't take it within this range. And obviously, there's a red flag right here. There's a news price, and then we had the lower range right there. Yeah, basically an engulfing candle right here. Confirmed the continuation to the downside. Price came down, grabbed liquidity right there. And it's still dropping lower. So don't get me wrong, guys. There's opportunities for entry here. It just depends on like what your risk appetite is, right? Are you okay with taking like this type of risk? For me personally, I don't. Obviously, I have my red flags for a reason. And that's why I don't necessarily look for entries like that. All right, we have a V1 engulfing. This might be the swinging back to the upside now. So you have a V1 candle here. It's also engulfing. If this closes above this red candle, this is going to be a reversal pattern to the upside. If price pushes up from here, I'll put a green bar at this point, and then we'll indicate that this is where the buyers are back in control. But we don't have that confirmation yet, so I'm just going to wait. There's no need to, you don't really have to predict where price is going, right? Just kind of go with the flow. If price pushes up from here, then okay, great. We'll have the buyers in control right there. But we don't necessarily have to get too ahead of ourselves. Yeah, CJ said, yeah, it's like people are sleeping in and trading after lunch. It's really been like this since April of last year. Yeah, I agree with you too, CJ. You know, I started noticing the market structure, or not really the market structure change, but the market conditions changed like early to middle last year. We thought it was just because it was summer, because usually the summer market doesn't move like that, but I mean, that's just kind of how it's been lately. It's it's weird. It's weird because if you think of things logically, you would expect markets to be volatile on open, right? Because that's when everyone's like getting into the market. That's when New York session overlaps with London session, right? Because London session will go like 2 hours into New York. So like on the usual, you would probably expect that to be like where a lot of the movement's happening, but for the most part, it just hasn't been happening like that. We did have some sort of breakouts a little bit, throughout the throughout market open, but then other than that, price kind of flattens out. So it looks like the breakout for today hit full TP for 100 points, guys. I just realized that right now. Price finally made its way down. It took a long time, but the breakout did hit its full TP for 100 points right there. If you guys took it, nice work. I will put this in the chat here so that you guys can see it. So looking at this right here, this was for breakout. Other than that, we don't really have much else here right now. All right, so it looks like the buyers are back in control here, which is a good sign. We want something like this to happen. Otherwise, price will just be in limbo the whole time. All right, so we have a V1 and engulfing right here. We have a buy signal. This could be a possible setup for an MPS V2 if this does push back above. So what I'll be looking for here is for price to push back above. Ideally, I'd like to see an engulfing or a V1 variation type candle. And this would set up for an MPS V2 to the upside. Otherwise, if it doesn't, this could just be a fake out in both directions, right? This could be fake out, pull back into the range, fake out down here, pull back into the range. Yeah, Brock City then trading off live from 10 to 11:30, sometimes towards market close, and it's more fluidity. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's another reason why I mentioned that trading later in the sessions might be better. Yeah, I'm gonna do a lot of back testing this week, and if that's the case, then we might just host our live session later. That kind of works out for me because I can go to the gym in the morning and I can come back and then I'll be super awake for the live session. And if it allows us to avoid this chop, I think that's even better, right? When you start to see the market kind of moving directionally. So yeah, I'll start a spreadsheet. I'll probably share that spreadsheet with you guys so that you guys can kind of see the edge, see where the entries are coming up from. I'll be focused mainly on the MPS V2 and then possibly A plus setups. Yeah, probably just those two, MPS V2s and the A plus setups. That's gonna be mainly what I'll be looking for. All right, so it looks like the buyers here are no longer in control. Sellers are back in control from right here. So that's short-lived. Looks like the buyers push price up just a little bit, and the sellers are like, nope, push price right back down. So the buyers here only pushed price up for about maybe a minute or two, and then the sellers push it all the way back down right here. It's respecting the range though, so you guys can see the range right here. I mean, if it fakes out, it just pulls right back in. So I guess we'll have to kind of deal with it here. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, guys, I can't be live for like 8 hours. I think if you guys were to trade live for like 5 to 8 hours, that would just your focus would be out the window, right? So I don't think that's ideal. Ideally, I would say, focus within like a 1 to 2 hour block. If you can have a 1 to 2 hour trading block where you're fully focused, then that would be perfect. You just got to find your edge. You got to find what time your strategy is working from. Whether it's working from 6:30 to 8, whether it's working from 8 to 9, 8 to 10, 10 to 11, 10 to 12, etc. You just got to find that sweet spot. So I'll open up a new spreadsheet. I'll pretty much mark up all the entries for the MPS V2. And then from there, I'll I'll share with you guys so that you guys can see where the edge is at. Because obviously you want to trade where your edge is. You don't want to force trades when your edge is not present or it's not valid. Yeah, let's see. David said since December 2024, 80% of my trades were between 10 a.m. Central and midday. My win ratio since then improved enormously. Yeah, so another confirmation right there from David. David also mentioned that he started to document his trades, and his winners started happening later in the day. I think it'd be a nice change too, anyways, to trade a little later, so we're not like barely awake in the morning. It would let us sleep in a little later too, so you won't have to get up like. I mean, my body's used to waking up like at 5 a.m. every day, anyways. But I know for some people, waking up that early is like it's really difficult. All right, so again, right here, price is respecting the range here. It's basically faking on both directions, guys. Fake out, pull back in, fake out, pull back in, fake out, pull back in. It's respecting the area pretty consistently. There's a possible MPS V2 setting up right here. It's not going to be an A+ setup, so it's not one that I'm necessarily looking to take. But if you guys are looking to take it, if the candle does come red, this could be a possible A+ setup, of course. We got liquidity right here, basically a liquidity sandwich. So if this candle closes below this box right here as a red candle, it's going to be an MPS V2. The only problem here is that it's at the red flag, which is the sessions. We also have the Fed speaking right here at 7:20. So I mean, there's a lot of things here to watch out for. I don't necessarily think it's really, worth the risk for me personally. I'll mark it up for you guys if you guys do decide to take it though. We have about 20 seconds left on this candle. Again, it needs to close below this box here. Once it does, this could be a possible opportunity for entry there. Yeah, Brock said if it closes further past the red flag, he'll take it. So close right there. This right here is an MPS V2 with confluence because it does have the engulfing candle right there. Again, I think this is a little tricky because we do have the Fed speaking right now. So the Fed is starting to speak at this moment. Let me check real quick. Yeah, Fed Daily is speaking right now. It's not live stream, but he is speaking right now. And you can see our prices pushing back up. That's why I thought this here was a little tricky because we have the Fed speaking plus we have the red flag right there, which is the news price from earlier this morning. You see how price gets manipulated around that area. And that's why I follow my red flags. It's just not a good setup for me personally. Price is respecting the zones though. So you can see over here. Again, I'm not in this position. I was just following it to see what would happen next. Price is respecting the lower range here too on the clean chart. So I mentioned earlier, this is kind of where price is likely to range from, right? The 44,600 and the 44,500. And what's happening here, price is respecting it exactly like how we expected. By that black line right there. So I was trying to give you guys different analysis. I give you guys a clean chart. I give you guys my markup chart over here. I also give you guys the SR chart. The SR chart also signifies that that was a support level. So it's just a tricky area right now where you guys like, if you have any sells at this point, it's tricky because you're at the support level. Obviously you want to trade somewhere in the middle. Like even though the market's ranging, ideally I would like trades that were like in the middle of this area, or I would like trades that are below the support level, right? Like closer to the end. I don't want to trade right at the support level. And this gives you 3 different structure analysis. It gives you support resistance, it gives you a whole number analysis, and then also my own analysis here with my tools. All right, guys, looks like we're back in limbo here. Price is right back into the range. The buyers look like they may be back in control from this point. It's a mess. Obviously, you guys can see here the market's a mess. That's like the simplest way of saying things. We have the big range over here. The reason why I say it's a mess is because look at who's in control here. Nobody's in control, right? We have the buyers push price up, sellers push price down, buyers push price up, sellers push price down a little bit more. And then again, over here, we have price kind of just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's not a good area to be trading in. Obviously, I can extend this out a little further if I wanted to. But it's kind of pointless, right? It's kind of pointless because you want to see the fake outs. Like I want to see price get faked out of these areas. So I'm gonna leave it as is right there. At some point, maybe I'll extend them out a little further if price does keep respecting these areas out here. So if price pushes up and then bounces off this area right here, then okay, in that situation, I will move this up a little higher. But if it doesn't, I prefer to see the fake outs here so that I can kind of see, what's happening here. I think understanding and seeing the fake outs makes a world of a difference, right? Versus just having like a perfect range. Because when you see the fake outs here, you can kind of anticipate, okay, there's probably going to be another fake out right here. Or the opposite can happen here. This is actually so this right here is an MPS V2 to the opposite direction. Currently running right now. So this is an opposite MPS V2 to the upside. Yeah, Christian said it seems like an inverted head and shoulders. It does look like it, right? Shoulder, head. I mean, it's a messy head and inverted head and shoulders, but nonetheless, here, I use the head and shoulder tool actually. Yeah, right. It does look like an inverted head and shoulders right there. Yeah, so there's an MPS V2 that's currently running right now, guys. I was tempted to get into it, but I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable with it right now. But that inverted head and shoulders analysis, it does look good though. Richard, thanks for mentioning that. I mean, it looks good, but I don't know. My entry wouldn't be good right here. I don't want to get in too late. It's too late at this point. I'll see if it retraces back a little bit. Maybe I can get in better entry. Let's see. The entry would be at 521, and it's probably gonna hit already. Yeah, Sam said price consolidating. I'm out until it breaks range. Analysis paralysis. Yeah, no, same here. I mean, it's stuck in this area that I don't want to be trading in. But I mean, the analysis does kind of play out for inverted head and shoulders. So if we get an engulfing here, then I'll possibly get into it late. Because that's going to be an A plus setup. Yeah, this would be an A plus setup if there is an engulfing candle that closes right here. Okay, so it's got 20 seconds left on it. We have engulfing, MPS V2 running with it. We'd have to have like another engulfing right here or anywhere really. Engulfing or a V1 for it to be an A plus setup. Candle's got about 13 seconds left on it. I don't know if this will close. Let's see, we got 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'll get into it right there. All right, so we have a couple entries here kind of running alongside. Let me see, the engulfing would happen there. 548. So it's down by 1 point. 548. Price is pushing up. So the NPS V2 already hit full TP. Now we have the engulfing here that's pushing up to its TP as well. This would be an A, it'd be considered an A plus setup. Nice, Brock adjusted his TP on that too. So I'm almost at my TP right now. I'm off like by a few points. 16 points, 17 points. I'm out full TP. All right, we out. There goes the win right there. So like I said, guys, it's all about patience, right? It's how to be patient right there for those entries. And the entries come up. It's just we're not having a ton of entries here. We had like, I mean, one entry here come up. Two entries actually that came up right after each other. And they played out perfect. So right there, we had two entries. These are actual like good valid entries. Like I showed you guys here, we had the buyers in control from 716. We had an engulfing candle right here. This engulfing was also an MPS V2. So we had a buy signal right here, price retraced, MPS V2 right here. That one ran. I didn't get into that one because I wasn't looking at it. And then we had the engulfing right here. This was another confluence, which is perfect. And that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to get into this one for sure. That's where I got in. And that's where I made my profit. So solid profit right there on that trade. Hey, what's up, Hussein? Yeah, I'm doing great. Well, I'm glad to see you here. It's been a while. Yeah, it's good to see a lot of old faces here. I haven't seen a lot of you guys in a while. I know some of you guys went on and did your own thing, or you guys started trading different strategy, which is completely fine. But it's always good to see old faces back in the chat. So pretty good profit right there, guys. On catching those two. Yeah, Shalom said solid entry. Christian said it had good confluences. Yeah, the confluences were there. It was perfect. I mean, price was in the range. That was like one downside, but price did finally break out of the range right here. And then it pushed through pretty nicely. It yeah, MPS V2 plus A plus setup. A plus setup actually. Yeah, CJ said I didn't take it because it was at resistance. The last time we traded at resistance of A plus, it lost. But the inverted head and shoulders does look good. Yeah, I know. I was thinking twice on that, CJ, before I decided to get into it. But then once the other confluence came up right here, that's why I didn't get in on it initially. Once I saw this confluence break out of it, I was like, okay, this is probably going to end up pretty good. And that's where I entered. So you guys can see the blue arrow right here. This is my entry point. And then the red arrow right here is my exit. So pretty solid entry right there. Shivam, so you think this push is because of Fed talk and then continuation to the downside? So I think this push was because price is overextended. So there's a couple different confluences right here that I can kind of point out, Shivam. So right here, price has been dropping since, we'll say this upper point right here, right? So we'll just measure from here. See, price has been dropping about 262 points. So it was about time for price to swing the other way. That's one confluence right there. The other thing is that price was at the 1 hour support. Right, so we're kind of using different confluences here. Price was bouncing off the 1 hour support. And then looking at the clean chart over here, price was also bouncing off the whole number right here. It faked out, it grabbed liquidity, and then it started climbing up from here. Right, so we have a couple different confluences for 3 different analysis here. So 3 different strategy analysis, you put them all into one, it gives you that confluence that, okay, price is ready to climb up. For one, price was overextended. For 2, we had price bouncing off the whole number right here, the 44,500. We were kind of waiting for that to happen. And then also is bouncing off the support level right here. So I think there's a lot of different ways to identify this as the reversal. But like you said, this could be possible. I don't think it was mainly because of the Fed. The Fed might have had some sort of saying in it because the Fed started speaking right here at 7 o'clock. Or 7:20? Yeah. So 7:20 right here is when the Fed started speaking. So yeah, I mean, the Fed could have something to do with it, but I think there are so many different confluences already pushing price away from this area that the Fed was maybe just an extra plus. Because he started speaking right here at 7:20, price was already pushing up from this point, and then it just, just continued from there. So that's why I like to give you guys like a lot of I like to give you guys the full circle of analysis, right? I don't just tell you guys, oh, follow the trend. Because that doesn't always work, right? I like to use structure, I like to use price action, and I also like to use the trend. However, the trend here is all bearish. So if you were to just follow only the trend, there would be no reason to look for a buy here. But because we had multiple analysis here, we were able to look for this here to take. And basically, this is going to push back to open, it looks like. So yeah, definitely. Shabam makes sense. Thanks. Yeah, I'll try to give you guys like different ways of analyzing the charts. I hate how people like only tell you one way, right? If you ever look at other people how they trade, they only show you like one way of trading, and that's fine. It's okay to look at one way of trading, but if you look at things from like a 360 perspective, and you kind of identify, okay, if your analysis, like my analysis here was for buy as well, but then I also use support and resistance, which I don't trade, but this is a confluence for me, and then I also use the clean chart here with they call these psychological numbers. If you guys have not looked at it, I mean, that's why I created this indicator here to identify specific price levels. I look at these whole numbers here because these whole numbers are psychological levels. It doesn't necessarily only apply to retail traders. It applies to algorithms. It applies to hedge funds, etc. A lot of them like to trade off these whole numbers. And that's why I use these for my own analysis. I don't necessarily trade these strictly by themselves, but I use it to in confluence with my own entries here that I do my own analysis with. So we got some profit over here for Brock. Nice work, Brock. Let's see. Brock locked in 5,210 for the day. So solid work right there, Brock, on your profits. I'll add that over here to your team profits for the day. Yeah, if you guys have more profits to post that, feel free. I need to screenshot my profits as well. I mean, it's a solid start to the week, to say the least. I mean, we were just talking about how like the market sucks, and thankfully the market gave us something, or else yeah, the market would really suck if we sat here for an hour and a half, no entries up. Ideally, I'd like to take another entry, but if nothing comes up, I'm not going to force it, of course. I try to preach that as much as possible. There's no need to force entries, guys. Um, you're gonna do more harm than good forcing entries here. But we still got time. It's 7:34 right now, so we got like 20 minutes until 8 o'clock. So I'll keep looking for entries here. The buyers are still in control. So you can see over here, the buyers have pushed price up. We're looking for the sellers to come back in control, maybe look for a sell to the downside. But the target here just got hit. So I mentioned earlier, price pushes up higher, we're going to go back to open, right? And that's where we're at. We're back to open. What I'll do here now is I'm going to screenshot. I'm going to take an actual screenshot of my chart so that you guys can see my entry. Personally, I like seeing where my entries came in and out from, so I know exactly like where my entries happen. The entries don't show if you screenshot the trading view chart. I don't know why they should, but they don't for some reason. So full TP on the MPS V2 entry. And then also on the engulfing continuation A++. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, not bad. And I'll post my profits. There's nothing here to take right now, guys. So don't worry, you guys are not missing out on any more entries here. I'm still looking, so not done trading yet. But anyways, here are my profits. Oh, whoops. I posted them in the wrong one. Let me save that. All right. So yeah, here are my profits, guys. So I locked in, let's see, 1,000. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, we'll just say like 25,000 from my Apex accounts. I locked in basically 1,200, 1,350 across my Apex accounts. So we'll say like approximately, we'll say about like 2,000, 26,000, 26, 27,000 off. Just this one trade here that I took. We'll just get an estimate. I mean, it's too hard for me to actually add this up. So we'll leave it as is. But yeah, guys, nice entry right there. We'll forward that over here to the chat as well. I feel like a lot of people don't actually look at the profits over here. So I'll send this over to the team chat so that you guys can see. I feel like most people look at the team chat here, but they don't look at any other channels. Just so that you guys can kind of see where we're currently at for the day. All right, nice work, guys. So if you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. We don't have a switch to the downside yet. So I'm looking for the sellers here to get back in control and push price down, even a little bit. It doesn't have to push down a lot, just enough for me to put the sellers back in control over here, right? So once the price pushes down, I'll put the sellers back in control. And then if the buyers come back in control right after, that's completely fine. But I do want to see some sort of retracement here. So I want to see price actually push down a little bit. Otherwise, we're kind of done with the buys for right now. If you guys want to keep tracking the buys and taking more buys here, feel free. But I usually only take my entries on the first leg, right? Meaning like once the price pushes up right here, I try to get in a little earlier, and then I don't try to get in later here because at this point, price is due to either retrace or reverse. So I don't want to get caught in the retracement or reversal. I just want to wait for this here to retrace or reverse, and then I get back in on the next leg. So I typically get in on just like one leg of the move. I mean, this would have been a nice hold if I held on to it till open, but it's okay. Got to stick to my trading plan. My trading plan is really just to lock in 20 points and wait for the next opportunity there. Nice, nice. So CJ actually got into locking some pretty good profit. Nice work, CJ. You're on your funded account now, huh, CJ? You're 300K funded. So that's nice. Locking in some real profits on those accounts now. I feel like it's a lot nicer once you're funded on your accounts and you're not doing evals because it helps. It helps. I feel like it helps with your trade psychology. You don't feel forced to take trades. When you're doing an eval, I feel with a lot of people, they feel forced to take a trade, and it kind of screws with their trade psychology most of the time. Yeah, I feel like when you're doing an eval, you just feel like you need to take a trade every single day, or you need to take every trade that comes up. Versus when you're funded, you can kind of just sit back. Like for me, for example, there's a lot of entries that came up over here, right? But I just sat back and I waited for like my entry. Like the MPS over here, I could have gotten in late, but I was like, no, I'm not going to get in late. I'm going to wait for the next confirmation. And that's what I waited for right here. And it played out perfect, no drawdown. It's just a different feeling when you're trading evals versus funded accounts. Because when you're funded, you don't want to lose the accounts. You want to be extra careful. When you're on the eval, you're down to YOLO the account because you want to pass right away. All right, Brock said he's done for the day. Nice work, Brock. So Brock said done for the day. Good start. Gold Trail almost messed him up. Yeah, iPhone said, yeah, exactly, man. I get bloodthirsty on these evals, but then I'm just stuck in a loop. Yeah, that's the thing, because the problem is when you guys are in your eval phase, you don't want to lose a lot because you're just going to be in limbo, right? You'll be up a little bit and then you'll be back down. And you'll be back up a little bit and you'll be back down. Like if you could stay like inconsistent where you're just taking like one trade and then one trade and then one trade, you like slowly build your way up until you pass it. But I feel like when you're trying to pass that eval, you don't want to pay that monthly, where it resets. And then you just end up being in that loop where it's like you make a little bit, then you lose a little bit, and you make a little bit, and then you just end up at break even at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, CJ said that's CJ's first 300K account, and then the other PAs are at 150, which is perfect. I was kind of thinking like if I was to ever start over, I think a 50K count would be okay too, because those are easy to pass and get funded right away. So I mean, if your goal is to get payouts like as soon as possible, it would be 50K accounts because you can pass those within like a couple days, if not like a week. The 300Ks though, they take a while. I mean, CJ knows it takes some time. I mean, it took me like a couple months to pass those 300K accounts because it's the spread between your profit goal and your stop loss limit is super, super wide. So it takes way longer. Nice. Yeah, Hussein said I trade during Asia session, so you couldn't join the streams. Yeah, which makes sense. And what's up, Jason? Jason said he sent me a message. Yeah, I'll check my Telegram. Nice. I just saw your message right now, Jason. Thanks for sending that. I'll take a look at that as well when I'm back testing this week. Looks like it could work. Let's see. Yeah, because lately it's been kind of bouncing, like you said. That's why these sessions here have been like super useful. I mean, it didn't do it today, but what happens a lot of times is price will push really far down and then it'll push up. Or like, for example, here, price will push up and it'll bounce off the session and come right back down. So I get what you're saying, Jason. I'll take a look at that a little later to see if to see how that plays through. We got market consolidating right here, guys. So I'm gonna draw consolidation range. Price has been consolidating here for a while. So we got that consolidation right there. And not much else happening at this point. Let's see, Hussein said, Sean, which prop do you trade with nowadays? So I trade at 3 different prop firms at the moment. I trade with Apex, I traded Tradeify, and I traded with Perdia Capital. Apex you can make the most money with Apex. Tradeify, they're more stable because they're straight to funded, so you don't have to do an eval phase. And then Perdia Capital, they're straight to funded too. And they supposedly say they've never denied a payout, but you can only have one account with them. So those are the 3 that I use. I don't really focus on those as much though. I trade a hedge fund now, so for the most part, my main focus is really on the hedge fund because that's like straight money to me. I don't have to go through any rules. So yeah, for me personally, I'm using, I trade like 50 accounts now. So I trade like 20 hedge fund accounts. I trade 20 Apex accounts, 7 Tradeify accounts. I only have 7 Tradeify accounts because I've been grandfathered in from before. So I've been funded with Tradeify for a long time now. And they changed it to only 5 accounts. But if you're from before and you never blew the accounts, then you'd have 7 accounts total. And then per day you have 1 account with them because that's all they allow. They only allow 1 funded account at a time. So yeah, those are the main three that I use, but my main focus is really on the hedge accounts because that's real money versus the props. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, Samson 150K is best for him. Two 300Ks, he has scares it. Yeah, no, I agree with you 200%. I think the 150Ks are the good middle point, 50Ks are the easiest, and the 300Ks are like, I'm scared to lose my 300Ks because it takes forever to get them funded again. So I don't really want to lose them. That's why I'm taking a lot lower risk with my accounts. All right, we have a V1 variation right here. I think we have some liquidity that I can mark up. So we got a V1 variation right there. We got some liquidity down here. So guys, if I think the Apex promo is still going on. If you guys want to get some Apex accounts, I mean, I would load up on some, like if you just want to pass, or if you just want to, yeah, if you want to pass and get payouts really quick, I would just load up on some 50K accounts because they're super cheap right now. If you guys want the link is in the Discord. I can share it with you guys as well. The code that I have here, this code is the admin code. So I mean, if you guys want to get more, feel free. Because I think the promo ends like tomorrow. Super cheap. I think it's like $50 for an account, or even less. It might be like $30. It's $50 for a 300K account. So I'm assuming it'd be a lot cheaper for the 50K accounts. Let's see, Shivam said, have you ever had issues with Apex payouts? So, I mean, I wouldn't say they're issues. I've been denied like maybe once or twice, but that was my fault. It was because I violated the rules. If you get denied, it's fine. You just got to keep trading until the next month, and then they'll pay you out in the next month. So, uh, I would say issue-wise, no, but yes, I've been denied. I wouldn't say it was an issue though. I knew what I did. It was because I was changing contract sizes, and you're not supposed to change contract sizes like that, like a big change. Also, back then we were doing like 10-point TPs. So when you have a 10-point TP, that also raises a flag because it falls, like you kind of violate the consistency rule. So I wouldn't say I had any issues. Not so far. Denials, yes, but I did get paid out on the next request because I followed the rules for the following month, and it was fine. The only people that get denied and complain about it are people who are cheating. That's usually what happens. The people who get denied, like I'm in a group with a lot of people who are funded and they're getting paid out like crazy amounts. There's this one guy in this group that I'm in, and he got paid out. He just waited. So what happened is he waited until like he was uncapped on his payouts. And he got paid out like almost like it was like over almost $1 million in one payout cycle. And let me see if I can find it. I gotta like hide his name. I don't want people to know I don't think he wants people to know who he is. But he did get a payout, and it was like, I mean, it was a pretty crazy payout, and it was legit. Like when I saw that, I was like, okay, they're gonna for sure pay out. I mean, they're for sure gonna pay out my little request. But for this guy, he requested, okay, let me save this. This isn't mine, guys. This is someone, I'm in a different group. I'm in the group with the admins for Apex, or like the old admins basically. But let me show you this payout here. For all of you guys who are hitting on Apex, this guy got paid from Apex right here. $1,592,026 from Apex. So, I mean, for everyone who cries about Apex, they're usually not following rules, right? So this is like a legit wire from Apex to this guy in this other group that I know. He's been trading these accounts for like over a year, and he just like kind of like waited till he got the full. He wanted to just get that full payout to see if they were legit. And he built his accounts up for like over a year. and he just got that one fat payout, and that's how much he got paid out, over a million, 1.5 million. So, I would just, for the people who talk shit about Apex, they probably have never gotten payout. So they're just crybabies. They're just complaining about like stuff that they have no experience in. Um, and that's why I stick with Apex. Like a lot of people like say not to use Apex, but I'm in a group with people who get paid out by Apex. Like we get paid out by Apex monthly, if not like every 2 weeks. And that's why I still use them until this day. So just keep that in mind, guys. In the future, you guys just have to like, if you're taking advice from somebody, take advice from somebody who like actually knows what they're talking about, and not somebody who's just like watching YouTube videos and they see other people complaining, so they want to complain too. Because I feel like it's like the sheep leading the sheep, and I mean it's fine. If people don't want to use Apex, that's cool. I'll keep using them and I'll keep getting payouts from them, but I don't want to necessarily like I'm not gonna stop using them. Unless something crazy happens, of course, right? Like Fast Track, I think that was like a huge red flag. I'm glad I never used them. But I do think Apex is legit for the most part. So guys, getting close to 8 o'clock, price finally broke out of the range right here, but there's still no retracement. So we had the buyers in control here since 7:16, price pushed up, consolidation, retracement never happened, and then price just ended up pushing up further from here. Price is currently bouncing off the sessions at the moment, so we'll kind of see what happens here. What happens here next? Yeah, Siobhan said, and in relation to 300K, you need 7,600 to have a trailing stop removed. What balance do you normally stay above? Yeah, so I kind of build it up a little bit. I think the threshold is like, I can't remember if it's like 7,000 or 600 or 9,000, but I keep it above like the threshold. So I keep it above 7,000, and then I also, yeah, exactly. So the threshold is 307,600. I keep it around like 310 around there. And I'll just make smaller withdrawals like within, because the thing is I don't need the money. So I think that's another difference with a lot of people is I have money saved up from trading over the years. So I don't necessarily need those payouts right away. I like to keep a cushion there so I don't blow the account. Um, and then I just withdraw like either every 2 weeks or every month whenever I have like a surplus in profits. So you just got to be smart about it, guys. I mean, with these prop firms, they're gonna find ways to like make you lose, but for the most part, if you have a strategy and you have a trading plan in place, you'll be perfectly fine. You shouldn't be blowing your accounts as if you're not over leveraging, you're not over trading. You just got to stick to the trading plan. So right now, guys, price is currently having trouble getting past the sessions right here. This is the whole reason why I don't trade at the sessions, because we get some manipulation at this point. There's two things that can happen here at the sessions, right? Price is currently right here right now. One thing is that price will bounce off it and come back down. The other thing is price will break above it and continue climbing. The third thing is price will just consolidate right here. It'll try to lure in buyers or sellers. Wherever the traders are at, it's going to stop them out. So this is the one thing that you want to be careful for. This is what happens a lot. It'll consolidate. It'll push down a little bit. People will chase the sell. Then it'll come back up. And it'll come back down. It'll just basically whipsaw people out in both directions. So like you take the buy here, you get stopped out. You take the sell here, you get stopped out. So you just want to be careful with this when you're trading around this area. This is why I just avoid trades here altogether. I don't even bother taking trades in this area because I already know I get stopped out most of the time when I trade around this area, so I just don't. Yeah, CJ said since they changed the payout cycle to 8 days, I request payout every 2 weeks. Yeah, that's usually what I do too. I requested, so like during November and December, it was like slower months. So I didn't really request much. I didn't have much to request because I didn't want to go past my threshold. So I requested my first payout like a couple weeks ago. And the new rule is actually pretty cool. So like if you trade 8 days, you can make a request for payout if you want. And yeah, it's kind of just, that's how I do it. I think so. Here's the thing: if you guys don't focus on the money side of things and you just focus on winning on your trades, you guys should have no problem staying consistent and making profit and just locking in, profits daily. Because that's what I do, right? Like I never really look at my profits. Like you can see my profits here. I don't even want to count them up because there's so much to count. Like these are my profits for the day. I can count them up one by one, but then that's just going to get me money hungry. I'm like, well, I made like 25, 26,000 for the day. Um, maybe I should make another 26,000. And that's where you start to get greedy. For me, it's just I want to win the trades. Like my main focus is to win these trades here. It's not necessarily the profit, it's to win the trades. Because the thing is I have like 50 accounts here. So I got to make money for everybody. Right? I'm not just making money for myself, I'm making money for my hedge clients and stuff like that, right? I got to keep people happy. If I don't keep people happy, then people won't want to stick around. And obviously I want people to stick around because the more people I have to trade for, the more money I make. So that's that's just kind of my thought process of trading. It's focus on the wins, don't focus on the profit. Focus on the process, basically. The ATR right now is currently at 14, guys, so it's pretty slow at this moment. I don't think this is a good time to trade. This is usually downtime. Like I said before, guys, usually the market's kind of dead between 8 and 9, maybe 8 to 10, and then it picks back up. So like I was saying earlier, and there's no entries here, so don't worry, we're not missing out on anything. Let me just kind of show you guys what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go and test. I'm going to make a spreadsheet with all the entries for this year so far for the entire day. So basically from market open up until market close. But if you look over here, so I mean, there was some volatility over here on Wednesday. Of course, I mean, price kind of went back and forth, etc. And then between here, so market kind of died down here between 6 and about, let's say 9 o'clock. So it kind of pushed up a little bit, then it went sideways again from like 9 to like 10. And then from 10 to 11, price started to pick up pretty nice. Right? Push down right there, retracement, and then push down further until market close. So what I'm thinking is I might start trading, or I might even start to get on the charts around like 9 o'clock. And then from 9 o'clock until like, we'll say maybe 10, I'll start looking for some entries. So I'll kind of just feel the market out between 9 and 10. And then from 10 until 11, like you just look at the entries over here, there's a couple entries that come up. This is from Wednesday. I just went to a random day from like 10 o'clock. So the sellers were in control right here. We had an MPS V2 come up right here. And then we had an engulfing right here. So I would have taken this entry right here and then roll that down further. Or if you would have had the buyers in control here, which I wouldn't, say for example, you just reset the process and you have the buyers in control from right here. And then you got the sellers back in control right here. This would just reset the process. So like you have an engulfing here, you have an MPS V2 right here, and then this MPS V2 would also line up with an A+ setup. So see another entry right there. So I'm gonna go and test that stuff. I'm gonna have a whole spreadsheet with all the entries. And then once I have that spreadsheet with all the entries, I'm gonna see where all the wins happen. If the wins happen between 8 and 9, then I'll trade between 8 and 9. If a lot of wins happen between 9 and 10, I'll trade between 9 and 10, vice versa, 10 and 11, 11, 12. If I get like 2 entries between like 9 to 12, I'll just trade from 9 to 12. But I will see where that ends up happening. So let's see, Christian, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It's 8 o'clock, guys, so I think I'm done trading for now because the market volatility is super flat. It's starting to die down. ATR is currently at 13. So I'll answer questions right now. And then once I answer these questions, I'll wrap it up for the day. So Christian said, I've been noticing the indicator in my trading view marks V1 that doesn't show up on yours. So which one does it show up on yours, Christian? Let me see it. Send a screenshot. Thanks for sending the screenshot. Let's check. So you have a V1 right here. This is at, I'm trying to see where that was at. Let's see, this is at, I think you're 3 hours ahead, right? So 7:55, I'm assuming. Okay. So right there. I think you're talking about this one right here, right? Yeah, a V1 up top too. Here, this is what I would say. Try to refresh your chart, Christian. Does it show up on yours too, CJ? Yeah, it's weird that it doesn't come up on mine. Here, I'm gonna re-add the indicator back on. Okay, so it's showing up on mine now. You know what? I think I have the old code on mine, that's why. Yeah, my bad, guys. So this was my older one. This is the one that I said I was working on that I had to fix before I gave to you guys. And there we go. This is the actual one that we're supposed to be using. Okay. Yeah, so that's right, guys. It's supposed to show up on yours. I was using the old one. So this is the old one that I created initially. This is the one that had bugs in it. That's why I had to fix it first before we started using it. And this is the new one. So bugs are fixed. I'll take that one off. Christian said, where can I change the label color? You go right here to style. You click the style right here, and then you can change the color if you like. So whichever, like if you want it darker. I like having it a little darker. It's a little bright, but it does make a huge, huge difference, but it does help. All right. You want to change the text color? So that option is not on there. It's just the arrows. I mean, if you want that, I can probably get that. If that's like a really big deal, I can change it. But I think it's better to just have it black. I think because you're on a black screen, huh? See, Christian. Oh yeah, so it's kind of hard for you to see. I'll try to get my brother to fix that, like to make that an option. I feel like there's a way to do it on here, but I don't know exactly. I think that's something that you would have to change under the chart settings. But yeah, I'll ask my brother if he can all right. So yeah, guys, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm not really seeing much happening here right now. I mean, if you guys want to keep taking entries, looks like the sellers might finally be back in control at this point. We have a sell signal right here, price retraced up. This is a V1 variation pattern. So we got a V1 right here. This is an MPS V2 that's currently running. If anybody is looking to take this entry here, the MPS V2 is currently running. If you're looking for another confluence, you look for the next confluence that will happen after this. So we have MPS V2, we have one confluence here, a V1 variation. So basically you look for price to retrace up, come back down further, and that'd be an A plus setup if you get another confluence. But the thing is, problem with this here at the moment is that the volatility is very low. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend taking any more entries right now, because the last thing you want to do is get into a position and it just ends up going sideways for like the next 10 minutes, right? That's where it's going to start to stress you out like it did for us last week. Typically, you want these to like fill and then go straight to your TP right away. So. All right, Lamar. Yeah, Lamar said, good day to be back in the market. Catch y'all tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see you back here tomorrow, Lamar. But again, guys, I don't think this is a good time to take entries because the volatility is very low. If you guys want to keep trading, like I said, you probably want to trade later around like 9 o'clock. Or like 9 o'clock, feel out the market. And then from like 9 to 10, start to look for entries. From 10 to 12, that's when like the volatility and direction starts to come back into the market. But other than that, we've been on the session for about 2 hours now. I think that's a good time to take a break or just call it a day. For me, I'm done for the day, guys. I will do some back testing. I'll try to figure out where our edge is in the market with this specific strategy. And if it's later on in the session, then we'll start to maybe make that adjustment later on in the month. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out. If you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. Barack locked in 5,210 for the day. Again, for me, these are my profits. I locked in, we'll say about like 26, 27,000 for the day. So not too bad for just one trade that I locked in earlier for this A++ setup. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys here back tomorrow. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, same place, same time, and we'll wrap this up